Richard O'Hara back for a review. I've got an Italian classic film. Arrow put this out. This is Contamination. Luigi Cosi. This is a 1980 sci-fi gore film that came out really on the heels of Alien. It was directly inspired by Alien. But I would think it would be unfair and oversimplistic to say, well, this is an Alien ripoff. It is, but I think there's a lot more elements to it than just that. It stands on its own merits, but it has inspirations from Invasion of the Body Snatchers. I think that's clear inspiration from that as well, besides the Alien movie. Luigi Cosi is kind of a protege of Dario Argento. He's kind of, even he describes it, I think, as a step below kind of a B-movie type director. He's not trying to aspire to be a Dario Argento with the artsy kind of funding and way that Argento put his films together. He's more in the way of Fulci, if you will, kind of a whole different subgenre. But his interest is in sci-fi, and although he has done giallo, he hasn't done too many films, but his interest as a kid growing up was science fiction. And you can see the inspiration clearly from watching this film. He apparently approached Claudio Mancini, a producer, and said, why don't we make a movie like Alien, but for a lot less money? And Claudio Mancini apparently heard two words. He heard two key catchwords, Alien and money, and said, yeah, let's do that. And that's how the film kind of came about. It stars Ian McCulloch, and as an astronaut, basically a disgruntled astronaut that lost his friend in a mission out in space, and now he's kind of drinking himself to death. Turns out that his friend was actually captured by an alien Cyclops, and the Cyclops is bent on world domination, and his modus operandi for world domination is to come to Earth and lay all these watermelon-like eggs throughout everywhere he can place them, and they explode, and in doing so, when they explode, they attach themselves to humans and cause the humans to explode, kind of like scanners. The film ended up being on the Video Nasties list. And it's kind of silly to think most of those films on the Video Nasty list, I think now is just ludicrous to look at, but it did end up on that list mainly because of these exploding chest explosions and gruesome special effects that are throughout this film. It's a lot of fun, great film, very entertaining, and this era release is fantastic. The Goblin soundtrack, is key, I think, in making this work, because at the end of the film, when you see the final confrontation with the Cyclops, they didn't have a lot of money to do it the right way, but the music propels the film, and that Goblin soundtrack just covers up a lot of errors and omissions as far as particularly the Cyclops, because the Cyclops, they couldn't move it. It had to be kind of stationary, so they really had to work around the limitations of the Cyclops creature. But I tell you, it looks great and sounds great, and the exploding chests, people in this film are great, and even the little eggs. The eggs are more reminiscent to me of Invasion of the Body Snatchers than they are Alien. This is kind of like, like I say, you could argue that it's an Alien ripoff and that these eggs are alien eggs, but they're not really. It's Alien on Earth. It takes place predominantly in a warehouse. So I think there's more similarities to Invasion of the Body Snatchers than there are to Alien. But either way you go, it came out certainly on the heels of Alien, and the intent, I think, was to take advantage of the success of that film. This Arrow release is a 2K scan of the original negative, and it looks fantastic. Sounds fantastic. It's loaded with special features. You've got an audio commentary with Chris Alexander, the editor of Fangoria magazine, and that's a very, very good, entertaining and engrossing commentary track. He's a huge fan of this film, and it shows, certainly comes through in his commentary. You've got a 42-minute retrospective of Cozy's career, where he's interviewed and he talks about his career. You've got a 40 some odd minute behind the scenes making of the film, which was very interesting. It's interesting to watch how the Italians, who don't have or didn't have at the time competent green screen technology and the money to put behind their special effects, it's fascinating to watch how they were able to make do and make I think a very competent and entertaining film. There's also information on Cozy's Star Crash movie, which he made just before this. In the Star Crash, it's obvious, you looking at it, that he also he's a big fan of Ray Harryhausen. There's some interesting special effects that are reminiscent of Harryhausen, and so Cozy's an interesting Italian director, certainly different from all the others within that genre, with his slant towards sci-fi. You've got a Q&A with the director Cozy and Ian McCulloch, of course, who's the British actor that plays the lead in this film. You have you've got there was like a 7 or 8 minute featurette of the Goblin, talking about the making of the soundtrack. You have an analysis of the Italian film genre by two supposed experts that talk about the different films and how they would take the success of Star Wars or Alien and parlay that success into a cheap, just as entertaining film, but much less expensive to make film in Italy. So they talk about the Italian genre that's piggybacking the success of some big Hollywood films. Great release. I mean, if you don't have this Arrow release, I'd highly recommend it. Here's the back cover artwork. It's not bad. Film's also alternatively known as Alien Contamination. You've got a Blu Ray, and then your DVD. You also have a little booklet written by Chris Alexander that goes through kind of the same things he covers in the audio commentary. There's a picture of some of the eggs. The eggs are a hoot. They look like these big watermelons that just kind of pulsate and then they explode and all this green goo flies up. The film is totally ludicrous. I mean, the whole concept of, if your whole intent is to just come to Earth and murder all the Earthlings, there's a lot easier ways to do it than placing these stationary, non-moving, immobile eggs. People can run from the egg, but the whole idea, why don't you just get a laser gun and blast all of Earth rather than lay all these eggs around? It's just a ludicrous story, but I think to enjoy these kind of films, you don't get too caught up in the realism of it, because there's nothing realistic about it at all. Hilarious movie, very entertaining, and if you like Scanners or Invasion of the Body Snatchers, you're gonna like this film. It's very gory, extremely gory. So that's gonna wrap up my review of Contamination, and I definitely highly recommend it. This is an 8 out of 10 release. All right, appreciate you watching. Thanks.